tell me how many are on.
Okay. We are live and on the air. And Patty's joined us on Zoom as well as myself. Thanks everybody for this very interesting session of Rotary today. One of the interesting things that we had both attended here recently was the district or the Zone 3031 Heart of America webinar about hurricane relief. What you see on the screen now is actually some of the things that they're still asking for. I mean, the hurricane's been over a month ago and they're still doing cleanup. The Zone webinar was 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the video from it. And then I've got some follow-up that I really want to show everybody from the districts around us that have sent relief efforts down there and that have really tried to make a dent in just the most awful devastation you can imagine. So if you'll bear with me for just a minute, this is a new system we're using there in the firehouse, so it's kind of, I want to make sure that I'm not hitting any of the wrong buttons. So that was not the right button. So
I want to welcome everyone. I know we have a lot of special guests, Bob Stewart being one of them. He's disaster recovery and has been an integral part of helping with the disaster recovery. We welcome you, Bob, and several other people who are here. As you know, probably know from the news, over 1 million households were without electricity the time Ida hit. And it's, you know, when it's continuing to devastate several states, you know, until it was off the East Coast. Currently, there's still 200,000 people without power in Louisiana. It's a dire situation with the continuing heat and additional flooding. So we'll be talking to 2 district governors and several Rotary leaders in the community who are working hours a day just to make a difference. And then there are those like Penny Menge, president of the Downtown New Orleans Club, Greg Lear, Louisiana resident, helping from Tennessee, Mike and Martha Collins, who lost their home, but they're still out there helping others. And District Governor, of course, Mark Lee, who works tirelessly, but may have not had time to get on this call. So many stories of those just working together and being exceptional Rotarians. But before our interviews, let's watch this video together. This is just a small part of the devastation that happened on August 29th in Louisiana.
Right now, we are looking at imminent landfall of this storm. Winds of 150 miles per hour are right now forecast, but we expect landfall in the next couple of hours. They will be at 155 miles per hour. Storm surges upwards of 15 to 16 feet, 20 inches of rain or more with this system.
Oh my God! Yo! Let's go!
Thank you. That was so devastating and I'm sure very hard to watch for those of you who are down in Louisiana. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all. The first interview that we have is with District Governor Karen Johnson from District 6190. Thank you for being here, Karen. Welcome. And if you please could walk us through the first few days after the hurricane. What immediate actions did you and your district take?
Well, of course, at first, there's not a whole lot we can do till we can find out where the need is. The first thing that we did was reach out to disaster aid. We have a disaster aid trailer that we sponsor. So actually we have two. They had one down there already and it headed to down toward Houma. We got ours and did an inventory, made sure it was as completely stocked as possible. And then as soon as we could locate a place to take it where they could use it, we, a Rotarian drove down there and took it, I believe, to Houma. And then the next focus for us was providing water. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, we had experience with this last year. It hit our district and our district governor at the time had located a source for a reefer truck. And if you don't know what that is, it's an 18-wheeler that's refrigerated. So we reached back out, found out where that was, and we chartered that truck and then picked up water to send down there. So that's basically what we did. And then we started asking for donations for supplies. We have another load going down this weekend. We had donations and out-of-pocket expenses for compiling cleanup buckets. We have 50 of them, which I realize that's, no pun intended, not a drop in the bucket, but that's what we have. So far, we've spent about $10,000 that, to get these supplies down there.
Right. Who's paying for that? Are they from donations?
Well, nobody's paid for it just yet. I've just incurred the expense. So I will be more than happy to share our address if you would like to help me. Otherwise, I'm going to be washing a lot of dishes somewhere to pay for this stuff.
Your chartered truck, where did you say that came from?
It was out of Mendon, which is east of Shreveport, and we drove it down to Hammond, which is just outside of Baton Rouge. And we felt like it was, well, two reasons. One, it's fairly centrally located between New Orleans and Lafayette. So both of the districts that were affected could access it. But more importantly, we had a contact down there. My brother is part of the Cajun Navy, and he found a church that would let us park it there where they had access to diesel to keep it running and people to pass out the water. And we stocked it. We sent it down with about 12 pallets of water, and we stocked it with another 8 pallets of water. And then somebody, bless their hearts, donated 20 pallets. So when that was all used up, so we got that out there so that we had water being passed out before the National Guard got set up. So once the National Guard got set up, then we released our truck and send it on back.
Right. What some of the Rotary clubs, mention a few of yours that have been instrumental in helping. I know we all want to thank everybody that's been helping so far. Or a few stand out, maybe.
Yeah, a couple of them stand out. First of all, the Leesville Club, our disaster recovery chairman is actually a member of that club. And they had some donations, substantial donations that are going to be sent down this weekend. Also, the Winfield Club, I think it's the president of that club, has been down there working at Children's Hospital. So Children's Hospital in New Orleans is where we're sending the 50 buckets that we have right now. And if we end up with enough resources to pull together more buckets, we'll keep sending them as long as they're needed. It takes about $50 to make a bucket. And this is, 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it with all kind of cleaning supplies. And you'd be amazed how hard it is to find supplies small enough to fit in those buckets.
Right.
We want to keep providing those. And in fact, I think we're probably, even once this is over, we're going to start stockpiling them. Because if Bob's going to keep having hurricanes, we're just going to keep doing buckets.
Can you put in the chat, if you would, if an address or email or anything like that you would like donations to go to?
Sure.
Okay. Because it sounds like you guys might need a little bit of help.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
we need about $10,000 to break even for what we've spent so far. And
Okay.
that let us do some more.
Okay. Thank you so much, Karen, and what all you're doing. And now we're going to go to District Governor Bob Vaughn, right in the middle of it, District 6840. Your district was heavily affected. And I want to know, how did you form your amazing team who I've met so quickly? Muted. Bob, you're muted.
Unmute, Bob.
Thank you. Thanks, Susan. I want to, and thanks, Karen. We appreciate what you've done for us. I want to point out that Mark Lee, the District 6200 governor, is on the call. I saw him on the second page of stuff. But I knew that I was going to be in the middle of where the hurricane was going to hit. And it occurred to me that just looking at the projections, we could use some folks outside. So I contacted Greg Lear and Sam Wally and Ace Sneakase, past District Governor Ace, who all were expected to be outside the zone, and said, hey, just in case I lose communications, would y'all just start a recovery team, go on, identify needs and resources, and let's pair them up as best we can. And then, in fact, I lost communications for a couple of days. We have a restaurant 2 days after we unloaded our freezers and our walk-in coolers to first responders, and then we evacuated out of the area to join the recovery team, which is meeting virtually, as you said, twice a day.
Right. You guys, whose idea was that? You meet twice a day. And can you mention your team?
So, it was my idea, not that it makes any difference, because we all kind of have agreed. And where we've had anything that warranted a discussion, we kind of have gone by the principle of do the right thing. So I mentioned past District Governors Greg Lear and Ace Sneakase, who are on the team, Sam Walling, and then Sharon Newton. So my our executive assistant is Sam. Sharon is our deputy governor for service. We've folded in Penny Menge, Rotary Club of New Orleans president. And we've got Angela Lambert, our deputy governor for public image. We just folded in Emily Leisinger, who is assisting in the public image. She's an assistant governor for the Orleans territory, which is the New Orleans area proper. And that's kind of our team. It's an amazing team.
Right. And service projects, I know you can't give us a number, but you've had several service projects, as we call them in Rotary, up until now, and you have several scheduled, correct?
Yeah, we have. We had a Rotary Club from Point Clear come in and cook about 2,000 meals, and we could only get them as far west as Slidell, which is on the east side of New Orleans. At the time, New Orleans was still heavily impacted, but the greatest need was on the west side of New Orleans, in LaPlace, St. Charles, and St. John parishes, as well as Tangipahoa Parish and Hammond, Amite, and some of the cities up there. So we had Rotary volunteers come in from Mississippi, from this whole Slidell area. Sharon got a bunch of them. Sharon got places for them to stay, and these volunteers came in. We had teenagers come in. If ever I've been impressed about being a Rotarian, it was looking at all these teenagers, these volunteers that came in from outside, and people even from New Orleans, the president of the Carrollton Club, Dean Peleus, was there, delivering the food. Sharon's husband, Bill, was delivering food to these families that otherwise would not have had a hot meal. We had following them over 20 people that came in from the Fairhope Club in Alabama, and with all kinds of chainsaws and supplies and materials to go into the hardest hit areas, Laplace, Hammond, and Meat, and cut trees, do debris removal, just really make people's lives better. Mark Lee and I have been in contact regularly. Every once in a while, one of our governors offers to send us some relief. We had some relief coming in from Texas. And, and I told him, look, I appreciate that, but you have to drive through Mark's district to get to my district, and that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So when you get your resources in the area where the need is, stop and help. And here's Mark's numbers. So we've been, back and forth, just do the right thing. That's been our guiding light.
Right. The first time I talked to you, there were some clubs on the East Coast that had gotten together just an amazing amount of building supplies. Talk about that if you would.
Oh, Susan, thank you for reminding me of that. So I don't think the storm had actually made landfall when Ron Forsetti and his team from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, started accumulating stuff. They put together about $55,000 worth of supplies to help in that immediate aftermath of the storm. They passed through the Pensacola area in the North Florida district, 6940, and I believe another district over there was involved in that. Added another quite a large amount of supplies. Anyway, by the time it hit, it came to over $80,000. And I mentioned Penny Menge. The reason we brought Penny onto our team, because Penny was in the middle of New Orleans, so she had a full home generator, but only a cell phone. She didn't have internet. Penny coordinated that over $80,000 worth of supplies into a warehouse that she found. Son of a Saint Foundation gave her a warehouse. It came in, it was transshipped, and it went out within a week. All of it was gone within a couple of days. Most of it was gone, and it was right there in the hardest hit areas. Generators, tarps, all kinds of stuff. And we've had a couple of other shipments as well, and ongoing shipments. Ron is over there again trying to put together 200 mattresses, 200 cook stoves for people that don't have power and need to cook stoves, and 200 small refrigerators, because when they get back and have power, refrigerators are already, it takes you a while to get a refrigerator. And I want to highlight one other thing, because I see his face in front of me. As I got access to communications, I sent an email out to all of our people wishing them well and saying, hey, tell me if you have a need and tell me if you have a resource. I heard from Bobby McDaniels of the Macomb Club that he was in Marrero, a very hard hit area inside of the city, on the west side of the river. And they had been days without a meal because there's nothing open there. And I called Jason Sanchez from my own club and asked Jason, could he help? And Jason, day after day after day, went and fed those people. Just an amazing guy, and one of so many amazing volunteers that have helped. You have to love being a Rotarian.
Yeah, you do. And if you would, please put your questions in the chat for Karen and Bob. And then Mark, if he wants to answer any questions at the end, we'd love to have questions for Mark too. Jerome, here's the point where we can play a few of our videos that you've got that we've collected.
We'll play a couple. I think the star of them, one of them may be watching right now. So we'll give her some limelight.
Hello, I'm Aniela Carracedo, also known as Annie. I'm 19 years old. I'm part of the Rotary Club in Bay St. Louis in District 6840, Southern Mississippi. I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student in 2019-2020 and a member of the Integral Club back at home in Venezuela and my Integral Club here in the United States. And I got stuck in Southern Mississippi because of COVID. Now, thanks to marvelous Rotarians, I had the opportunity to stay here. Now I'm a part of the community. I'm a part of the Rotary Club. I'm also an honorary member of the Rotary Club of Oriente de Talca in Chile. And We are here helping the community affected by Hurricane Ida, and I just learned how to use a power side, the little thing to cut trees, and it's wonderful to be able to help the communities that were affected.
Thanks.
I
We
think
we know that our future is solid, right? With people like that coming.
we got another one I'll share with you of somebody that was affected down there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We had a total of all of 7 trees down. We had 3 trees back there that took out our back fence, 2 that fell down along the side with the shed, 1 that fell in the shed and the generator, and then we had 2 other ones down over here. And the floodwater stopped right about here before it got to the house, but everybody over on that side all flooded. So it was, I think it was 9 days without power, but it came back on finally. So anyway.
And can you just give us your first name and say
Sure.
that you're in Hammond?
Oh, I'm in
Louisiana?
Hammond. My name is Alice, and I'm in Hammond, Louisiana, in Whitmar subdivision.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
And I got one more I'm going to share because if you've seen it, it's definitely something I wouldn't want to do.
Oh,
So I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be up there.
So glad that there are people that can do that. Great. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you so much. Right now, I want to talk to one of Bob's team members, Sharon Newton. Tell me what your role is as a volunteer coordinator.
So what we found is there's so many people that want to come in. Well, say first, thank you, Susan. But so many people want to come in and help, but then where do you send them? We don't know what to do. And you sure want to appreciate the valuable time that they're giving us. So we do get people that say, here, I need help. For example, that lady whose trees came down, people who need their house mucked out, people who have trees in front of their house they can't get in their front door. So we get requests from people. And so I try to be the person who puts the requests together with the teams that come in so that we can, again, take care of people's needs as properly as possible and then also use the valuable time that people have given us to come volunteer.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sharon, for what you do. Another question, how can you be contacted for information as to what is needed? Because there's always going to be different needs. And how do you find out those needs?
Actually, I think, Sam, I'm not so much on the physical needs, like somebody put on the post a little chattel about different supplies. But yeah, I guess I am, because what happens when they ask for help, they'll say, for example, over where they are in the west side of Laplace, they want all the different cleaning supplies, the water, and depending on whether they have electricity, one of them actually, they have a big generator, but they need propane every day. So for example, what they've asked is to have somebody go daily to go pick up and fill up propane tanks and bring them back to them. So when we get requests, if there's not much on there, I'll go on and ask, what is it you exactly need so we can help you as much as we can. And then send that out to the different Rotary clubs that said, what can we do for somebody? Where can we find out what we need to do?
Right. Bob has mentioned that you found housing for some of the volunteers. Is there currently housing available down there?
There's one of those little blessings after Katrina, one of the local churches, Aldersgate Church, with the Rotary Club, we built, they built a building in the back and there's 2 big bunk rooms with 16 beds in each bunk room and showers, 2 for men and for women. And that's been available since Katrina. So yeah, when groups come in, for example, the guys that came in from Fairhope and no, they stayed, Sam got housing for them. But the other group that came in and they stayed in there, at least when they go back, they can have showers and air conditioning and that we can send them back out again. It's a safe place where they can do something. And this is a project that's exactly and only for volunteers that come in for not-for-profit. So we do have that available, and 32 beds is a lot when we don't have hotels obviously available because so many people have lost their homes.
Right. Well,
So
thank
they
you
can
so much.
contact me and I
Yes.
get in touch with Jim Faddick. We'll work on that.
Can you put that in the chat then? Your contact?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Please, because if Rotary clubs throughout, would like to come and set a date and a time, they could contact and make sure that there are things for them to do.
Okay, and that just, by the way, it's called the Epworth Project, and it's at Aldersgate Church, and I'll put all this in, and Jim Sadek is the contact. So yes, I'll do that. And it's very valuable. They do ask for a donation for $15 a person, FYI, because they do have to pay for the building, but thank you for that, Susan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Sharon. Thanks for all you do. Want to welcome now Samantha Wally, which everybody calls Sam. And congratulations on being selected as a DGND for District 6840. You have been answering communications from your district since the hurricane. How have you managed to connect with people where there's no power, no internet, and there's spotty coverage at best? How do you do it?
It's been a fun couple of weeks. We're very lucky in our district that forward thinking, our leadership at the beginning of this year, we had put in an 800 number for district support for our clubs to be able to reach our district easier so we could improve the service we provide to our clubs. Right. So luckily we had that number in place that gave us a central communication location along with email. So as Bob said, I was just outside of the danger area for the hurricane. So while there wasn't phone, there wasn't internet, those of us that still had communications were able to communicate. Text messaging was really our best option. Most people had a cell phone. The cell towers were up and down, but that seemed to be the best. We were lucky that we had a resource to be able to create group text messages. So we used text messaging a lot. We used our Rotary network. I reached out to all of our club presidents, club secretaries, everybody, all of our AGs, and asked them to get out with their network in their communities and help us to identify needs and identify volunteers. So that Rotary network, as always, is a really important piece of the communications.
Right.
And then we have these daily Zoom meetings where we can manage now a little bit more easily.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Samantha. Of course, we're always running over. It happens every time. But thank you for that. We've heard some wonderful stories about the good in people. Now, inevitably, there's a darker side. Scams that can happen with every hurricane or weather disaster. Greg Landry, how can we protect ourselves and our family?
Yeah, Susan, that's exactly the right question. Avoiding the legal mess you could get into after a storm is a whole lot easier than trying to clean it up afterwards. The firm I work with has been cleaning up legal messes after storms for over 30 years, and we see some of them the same things year after year. So here's 5 of the most common scams we see after every single disaster. The first one is unlicensed contractors. People are desperate. They want to get the hole in the roof fixed. They want to get the house mucked out. And these guys will show up, usually from out of state. They're going to take a huge deposit, and then they either don't finish the work or they do very shoddy work. So the biggest tip I can give you on that is, as soon as you have a loss, contact your insurance company, report the loss, and take the advice and work with the adjuster. When you do get ready to contract, only deal with licensed contractors, and you can get a list of those from the state licensing board. You want to get multiple estimates from different contractors, and you don't want to do a handshake deal. You want to get something in writing so that you've got something to rely on later. Last couple of things about contractors is, don't pay them all the money up front, because if you never see them again, you're going to be in a problem. Get a very minimal upfront payment and pay almost everything on the end when the project is completed. Don't pay by cash, don't pay by a wire transfer. Use a check, a money order, a credit card, something that you can stop payment on if you have to. Second big problem, we've already seen this one happening after Ida, is landlords trying to take possession of storm damaged property. Just because there's a storm doesn't mean the landlords can ignore state law. All tenants in Louisiana are entitled to notice and a court hearing, and it's the same thing in Mississippi. Your lease doesn't end just because there's been some storm damage to the property. Now, if there's nothing left but a slab, then you don't have a lease anymore. But if there's a building left, if it could be fixed, odds are your lease is still in effect. Third problem, we're just starting to see some of these, and that's identity theft. People will show up claiming to be from the government and they're here to help you. Make sure that you check their ID. And if they claim to be a government official, they will have no problem with you telling them, let me call you, or let me call your office and verify who you are. Don't believe your caller ID? If you haven't learned by now, they can make anything show up on your caller ID. And so these folks are trying to steal your FEMA benefits, your disaster unemployment benefits, your disaster food stamp assistance. Don't trust them. Fourth big one is fake charities. There are people willing to take advantage of you right now. They will be glad to take your money, but they help only themselves. Best way to avoid those is don't do any on-the-spot donations. Any legitimate charity, just like a government official, will be only too happy to have you check them out and call them back to make the donation or visit their website. And the last one we saw already down in the Houma Terrebonne area, and that's people jacking up prices on gas, hotels, generators to take advantage of your desperation. It's illegal, it's price gouging, and they can't raise prices past what was ordinarily charged before the storm. So if you see that happening, call the local sheriff or call the attorney general, and they'll be glad to enforce those laws.
Greg, can you put some information in the chat for us? I know you had some good information, and any way they can contact you if they have any questions?
Sure, I'll put a couple of numbers there and a one-page flyer about contractor fraud. So just check the chat.
Okay, Greg, thank you so much. That's important information.
Okay. I don't want to take up the whole day. Well, here's a couple things, and talking about all the relief that was sent. I was trying to find a good number, and I would say from all the sources, because you have to remember, there's a lot of clubs like ours that have donated a few $1,000s, and as you heard before, that few thousand from the clubs in the Carolinas, you know, by the time a dozen of them got together, all of a sudden it was $80,000 for just one relief effort. Now, one of the big groups that's Rotary sponsored that's gone down to help is Disaster Aid. Now, I know we've talked about it in the past, but I thought it would be kind of pertinent to show just some of the scenes that Disaster Aid themselves have been working on. When they went down, as you heard mentioned previously, there were several different Disaster Aid trailers from different districts that went with a variety of equipment, with a variety of districts from all over. Sorry, some of the pictures are a little snarky. And I'm going the wrong way anyways, so here we go. When they got down there, literally the teams were using chainsaws to clear the roads to be able to get to the people to try and help. The scenes of devastation are just heartrending. You've got an area that has a lot of inlets and a lot of waterways that the boats were thrown in trees, thrown on houses in some cases. And they had to use a variety of heavy equipment to try and lift up down trees, roofs, walls. I mean, that was a house, and now it's worse than a pile of Legos. And the livelihoods, I mean, you've got a whole lot of people down there that were into fishing that are living on their boats because their houses are just gone. The flooding was so extensive that, you know, the Disaster Aid trailers that went down, the boats, part of the Cajun Navy was there. They were just driving through just a lot of debris, which lend itself towards a lot of flat tires too. Yeah, there was, as you saw from the other video, a lot of the volunteer work has just been debris cleanup, trying to repair what structures they could to maintain people's standards of living to anything. I mean, you can see from some of the scenes here that the devastation has just been so utter in some places. And that's not a metal roof, that's just tarps. So the numbers I've heard, you're talking tens of square miles of tarps that have been applied to houses throughout the devastated area. It's just insane. And there are still some places that don't have electricity from what I've been told. Now, all the stuff through Disaster Aid that's been Rotary sponsored is all volunteer hours. I mean, and it's just, they've helped a tremendous amount of people, but the devastation has just been so total. yeah. I mean, if you can picture any of us having a store that then looked like that, it's just heartbreaking. And it just goes on and on. But yeah, Disaster Aid is still raising funds. So for anybody who still wants to try and donate something, they've delivered over 25,000 pounds worth of supplies just through Disaster Aid. Now, this isn't individual clubs or anything else. This is just through the Disaster Aid program. I mean, and they went through over 1,000 gallons of gas with the first deployment. They're already on, I think, deployment 4. So the generators and everything else and all the equipment that they brought, I mean, as you heard, it's being used as soon as it hits the ground. It's not sitting in a warehouse somewhere waiting on you know, logistics. And yeah, some of the scenes of devastation are just so complete that I mean, you've got areas that yeah, just massive help. But I want to turn it back over to Mike. I know we're getting towards the bottom of the hour, but for anybody who wants to donate, oh, and hello to Aunt Cecile who's joined us. She actually joined us a while back, and I just wanted to make sure that Russ had her for the attendance. But for anybody who wants to donate or wants to help, there's a bunch of resources I can point you towards, and it's just, yeah, it's just scenes of utter devastation. So, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate this. We'll work out some of the bugs. We're doing our pledge. Will you stand with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, this season of beautiful colors and cooler temperatures means farmers are in the fields on sunny days. We give thanks to all of them for feeding us and never leaving us hungry. We realize many are not as fortunate as us. We ask for blessings upon them. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You can be seated. Thank you again. I think Chris will hang with us. This is part of our remote system. Chris is running into some scheduling problems on his end with his involvement with district, Rotary, and work as well. So he's able to actually do this from wherever he's at. And we've purchased some equipment. Not all of it is here today. That little bitty box is doing this whole thing. If you're curious about that, I'm like, whatever. I don't get it. So we've got another iPad coming that will actually finish this off, and it's going to be easy to do. I've had quite a bit of requests to be available still on Facebook. So we're live today. And that part is kind of exciting. And Chris can control cameras. And it also is going to help us with speakers. We've got some coming in the future. After November, they're actually going to be able to do remotely. And it's pretty exciting. So this is also part of getting prepared for when we go to Mexico, that we're able to do that as well. So there's a lot of things we're covering here. Hopefully we'll get to do that after the first of the year is what they're telling me right now. So again, we as a club, we did send John Frisch a card. Thank you for those that were at the meeting in Fenwicks and was able to sign that and enjoy that. And I do appreciate the attendance. We're doing a lot of different things. We're sticking with our regular schedule, but we've got some exciting things coming up. So the first thing I want to do, though, is each one bring one.
Each one drink one.
Cheers. I want, if you would, I've got her daughter's membership kit up here. Can you come up, Sue, real quick? This is neat. We added a member that lives in Ohio because of the days and age and the changes in technology with Rotary. So this is the new membership kit for Sue, who is her daughter's sponsor, who has been given to Rotary for a long time already. Long time. We actually transferred her membership from Rotary to Rensselaer. That was truly how this happened. I found her on the National Registry, and now she is a Rotarian member of Rensselaer Pub. So this is for Kathleen Severance, her daughter, and she's going to deliver it to Ohio for us. Is actually what she's going to do. Is there anything you want to say?
No, thank you. But my daughter is a Paul Harris.
Absolutely, and I didn't know how many times, but I know she has been given for quite
You
some
want
time.
to tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, tell us about Kathleen, what she does.
She works for JP Morgan Chase. She's an investment advisor. She's got hundreds of millions of dollars in the portfolios that she manages. She's a real good moral character. I'm really very proud of her. She's always doing good for people in all kinds of ways. So.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Kathleen. That's very, very, very cool. So appreciate again the video and stuff. And if you are interested, I think Russ kept up with that. There's still an opportunity to give. We gave $600. I tried to look real quick. You don't remember exactly where that went, do you? I know it was zone.
Went to that district.
That was that district that went. So
I checked it out as we were watching, I'm like, oh, that's the right district.
well, and I actually wondered if that was the governor that had the damage to his own home too, that was actually on that, because that was part of it. That was, for me, the drawing card was, hey, our people are in trouble. They lost their homes, and they made comments. So I'll try to research that a little bit, that the one couple that was on the ground doing the work had lost their home, and they're still out there helping everybody else. It's phenomenal. I mean, when you think about that kind of loss. Fred, are you ready to take Matt's money? I mean, sorry. The power of suggestion.
Is Chris still with us?
He probably is. Chris, are you there? Probably fell asleep. Yep.
Okay, did you read the email you sent out earlier today?
Oh, boy.
Did I make a typo or would I screw up?
At this point, I'll give you a chance to buy an E for $1.
An E cost him $1. That's awesome.
All righty.
I'll pay his $1.
Okay. All right, the next part of this, is it the truth? Okay. If you were on your phone during the meeting, it's $1. During
I'll
the
give you the $1.
presentation.
My phone doesn't stop the entire time. You want to pay for next week?
Worse
too?
than a teenage girl.
Oh, geez.
All righty, last one I got here was a mighty fine dessert today. The first dessert comes with a meal. The second dessert is $1. Those that have
What?
dessert.
Stephanie says with pleasure.
It was worth it.
I gave her mine.
Oh, okay.
Not a pumpkin fan.
All right, I think I hit about everybody. We want to go ahead and do the drawing? Oh, what do we got here? Half, $68.
Hey,
Plus
Fred.
whatever count.
Fred, all you have to do to make a lot of money is anybody that's had a wedding this year.
Wow.
Pay
He
it
ain't got no money left. And that's pretty good. He ain't got no.
Ain't got no.
Two weddings.
So we've got $7. So we're at 75. $75.
Emily had bread for Christmas?
197.
For Crystal?
The early bird.
Okay, we'll pull it for you, buddy.
That's too much.
One on the end, and oh, 10 of spades, or 10 of clubs.
Oh.
We were pulling for you, Mark.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it as
You won the
always.
lottery last night, you didn't really need to win this,
Pork burger update, Oktoberfest, we raised $375, gave 100 of it to Main Street,
Way to go.
$275.
Thank you, sir.
That one hurt. Just for the record. It's usually quite a bit more than that, but it was just whatever it was. It was the year for that.
It was a German.
The beer garden did well. That's all I can tell you, but none of the food vendors. So here's what it is. We have raised $2,500 so far for Heart to Heart Cleft Palate Project. If you want to continue to give to that, just mark it as we put out the emails. I am so excited about next Tuesday evening. We're having a social gathering at Royal Oak, and it is going to be our George Tonner social. He is going to meet us over there. I think the exact words for Ned that I got in an email was, "I'll wheedle Dad over." So I'm like, all right, I hope there's not snow. Anyway, so.
How's that W apostrophe L?
Yeah, it's, I think there's an H in this one, but anyway.
What's the time on it?
That is at 5:15. We're working on the reservations for that. Let me know because I kind of have a number. I got a pretty good idea, but I am hoping you'll reach out to more of George's friends that have been in Rotary and those kind of things, as well as this is an opportunity to bring a guest. And Rotary will be doing something as far as, we'll definitely be taking care of George's meal and those kind of things. So I haven't talked to our treasurer yet, but we'll do something special that night. Might even have a special presentation of sorts for him. So we're working on, I'm excited about that. I'm like, man, that's what social is about. So thank you, Ned, for working that out for us. And
Thank you.
I'm pretty excited. I hope George is as well. And
He is excited.
good. We're hoping, maybe when you get Don to come over with you. Boy, that's a hoop. Get them both in the same room. Maybe not.
I'll leave Don back.
I rethought that. Did you see me start backpedaling there? Anyway, so that's gonna be a lot of excitement. On the 19th, our District Governor Jane Roush is gonna be with us. All of this is on the calendar that we just sent out. Make sure that you mark that day. We want to have the best possible attendance that we can have that day. At 11 o'clock, I expect all the all the local executives to be at that. If you don't know who you are, I can name your name. But I would like for you to come. And we're going to have lunch a little bit earlier that day for the executive board. And then we'll still have the same meeting afterwards. But just so you know, I've already set that up to where we can overlap that a little bit better. And some of us can have our lunch a little bit earlier that day. New calendar's out. That's all I got. I did pretty good. I got 3 minutes to spare. Anything else? All right, stand with me for the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a great afternoon, everybody.